Welcome everyone to an updated Celebrity Synastry chart reading where I will be looking into Zayn Malik and Gigi Hadid. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline. I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology, specifically Synastry. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs, aspects, and if birth time available house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. And of course, as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below and let's get a discussion going. So if that sounds good to you, like, subscribe, and keep on watching. So just before we start the video, I just wanted to mention the reason why I'm updating this. It was brought to my attention that Zayn's birth time, the one I used previously, was incorrect, but it was brought to my attention that is not his correct birth time. It is actually 12:04 p.m. if I remember correctly, so I redid the Synastry chart with that birth time, and now here we are. Starting off with the sun, we have Gigi's sun in Taurus and Zayn's sun in Capricorn, both earth signs. They're a good team, they feel they can rely on the other. They prioritize practical matters and they have similar philosophical and intellectual thoughts. Both need to make time to enjoy life and not be so serious. Gigi's sun in Zayn's 12th house. They are different people, there is an atmosphere of mystery, marriage is not possible, they don't understand each other, which I find interesting because we were just seeing before with their sons, they're both pretty much on the same level, but we'll see more. No idea why they're together. Perfect. Gigi finds Zayn unpredictable. Yeah. Gigi sees Zayn as exotic and strange. Gigi feels Zayn doesn't approve of her. Relationship requires a lot of patience and Gigi is attracted to Zayn against a better judgment. Well, yikes. That was a lovely overlay. Zayn's sun in Gigi's 9th house. They teach the other it's a great and enduring friendship. So I believe now they are separated. They're not together in that way, but I believe they are still co-parenting. So hopefully that friendship dynamic is still continuing. Relationship of mental stimulation. They both share similar views. So we were seeing before, we've seen them already, we've seen like they do share similar views, but they also do have some like a bit of lack of understanding of each other. So I believe this seems to be more to do with their behavior thus far. We'll see more how this manifests though. Both influence the other to be more culturally aware. So that's interesting seeing, we saw Gigi see Zayn as exotic and strange. So the difference of culture. So I would assume just with what we have so far, Zayn would influence her to be a bit more culturally aware. Zayn's sun, Sextile Gigi's Saturn. It's a long-term relationship. They work on common goals together. Gigi is loyal to Zayn. They both feel they can rely on each other, they both feel a sense of commitment to each other, and they can work together business-wise. I definitely see the atmosphere of mystery to this relationship that we saw before, because so far I feel like it's been pretty okay. We haven't seen anything too red flaggy, except like there is the atmosphere of mystery, because there is a bit of like, it's okay, but not quite, is it? Zayn's sun conjunct Gigi's Neptune. It's a very spiritual relationship. Zayn is fascinated by Gigi. We saw this kind of before with on Gigi's end to Zayn. Intuitive communication and understanding. I definitely see this because I feel like they both have similar foundations to their personalities, if that makes sense. I feel like just how that manifests is a bit different, you know. Gigi is attracted to Zayn's straightforward nature. It's kind of funny. We saw how she thought he was too unpredictable before, but you know, it could be both. Both need to be careful not to confuse reality and illusions. This relationship boosts Zayn's intuitiveness. So now we're on to moons. So we have Gigi's moon in Aquarius and Zayn's moon in Virgo. There's major difference in temperaments. This is probably where the differences come in, like the foundation of them, like, you know, sun being the house of the foundation of your personality, the core of your personality. I think that is quite similar with these two, but probably emotionally, now we're on to the moon. Maybe not so much. That's where the differences kind of start, you know, this is how it's manifesting. The emotions are different. Zayn may not feel secure around Gigi. They both value progressing. Gigi may find Zayn boring. Okay, I assume like Gigi's feelings towards Zayn is more leaning towards he's boring rather than he's unpredictable. Neither prioritize their feelings, which yeah, we haven't seen too much of like feelingness in this relationship. We've only seen that bit of the intuitiveness just before. Gigi's moon in Zayn's 11th house. Gigi sees Zayn as the dream person, so we're continuing to see there's a pattern of like they both really admire each other. Gigi feels at ease around Zayn. Zayn feels relaxed around Gigi. I think both of them, we've seen already with both of them, they seem to have conflicting feelings towards each other. Like, just with Zayn now, like we saw before, he may not feel secure around Gigi, but now he's feeling relaxed. But we saw before how she doesn't feel Zayn approves of her. So I believe there would be... So it seems like there is some conflicting feelings about the other on the individual parties. Both feel they can be themselves and they're never really mad at each other. Zayn's moon in Gigi's 5th house. Zayn sees Gigi as perfect. We're seeing again the sort of like idealization of each other. And we did see before not to confuse reality and illusions, I'm pretty sure. So there probably is a bit of like iffiness regarding that, because if these two are seeing each other as like their sort of idealized version and then they're acting different, like frustration. Zayn drops his emotional guard around Gigi. Zayn feels an emotional connection with Gigi. Gigi is flattered by Zayn and Gigi appreciates their emotional relationship. So it seems like the part where Gigi feels that Zayn doesn't approve of her seems to be like, it feels like maybe she feels that way, but Zayn seems to be approving of her. Both enjoy spending time together and they have lots of fun together. Gigi's moon trines Zayn's Jupiter. They have good fortune, possibility of being too excessive. They're happy in each other's presence. Adventure is important in this relationship, so like the emphasis of them having fun together, enjoying that quality time together is emphasized. Honest communication is easy, and Zayn helps Gigi with her emotions. Interesting. So, wow, this is an interesting thing we're bringing into the relationship. Gigi's moon conjunct Zayn's Saturn. Gigi feels an emotional need to maintain long-term commitment. Zayn wants to guide Gigi and Zayn is protective of Gigi, which I think we're starting to see a bit with Zayn wanting to help Gigi with her emotions. Gigi may be either upset with this help or accepting of it. I'm leaning towards more accepting it because she feels that Zayn doesn't approve of her. There is that feeling within her. So I see, and we saw that Gigi's flattered by Zayn, so I'm leaning towards the more like she's happy with this. Relationship based on mutual respect. Gigi's moon squares Zayn's Pluto. Jealousy and emotional manipulation is underlying. Zayn can sense Gigi's unconscious needs and manipulates her with it. We were going so well, I felt. Like, it was so nice. Zayn tends to be controlling over Gigi. I mean, we did see before, like, he feels the need to protect her, which can be a fine line between protection and control. Projection is a challenge. I mean, I see that with both of them, like, needing to be careful not to confuse their reality and illusions. I feel like that would play a part with that. Both need to let go of the idea that love only exists within control. And they both need to work through power struggles. Both may need to work through some psychological demons from the past. And there's a deep emotional transformation. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Zayn's moon trine Gigi's Mercury. They're comfortable talking to each other about everything. Harmonious relationship. Gigi enjoys being emotionally nourished by Zayn. Gigi provides a foundation for Zayn's feelings, and Zayn is comfortable expressing his feelings with Gigi. So we're seeing they're both very emotionally comfortable with each other. Zayn's moon square Gigi's Jupiter. Tendency to be extreme and excessive, we've seen before. Poor judgment can lead to trouble. I think this is tying back to like the issues of like the idealization of each other, the projection and that sort of thing. Too optimistic as a couple. I can see that because they're both, and like I feel like on a basic level and on an emotional level they seem to get along well, but there is the bit of that underlying like toxicness. Both feel free with their emotions, we see again. Relationship about determining boundaries, 100%. Both will learn better judgment and there is a failing to keep promises. Zayn may become possessive of Gigi, I'm pretty sure we're seeing again. And they meet in an optimistic way. Zayn's moon opposite Gigi's Saturn. Attracted to the other because of their different views. I believe like in the beginning we saw there was that bit of cultural difference. Both have something the other needs. Difficult emotional connection. Yeah, I feel like it's not necessarily, I think it's just their intentions behind their ability to open up to each other and be that emotionally free with each other, if that makes sense. Zayn needs to be more independent from Gigi. And I'm guessing maybe that is why he's possessive of her, because it is coming from a place of codependence. So now on to Mercury. We have Gigi's Mercury in Taurus and Zayn's Mercury in Capricorn. Both earth signs again. prioritize practical daily matters. I feel like this is talking about, I assume, the like co-parenting dynamic now. It would be, I assume, a lot more like practical things, not so much more emotional things. Relationship can get stale easily. They accomplish goals together, we're seeing again. And they both tend to neglect the relationship. Gigi's Mercury in Zayn's 12th house. Gigi has a sixth sense with Zayn. We saw in the beginning there was a bit of intuition here. Gigi may feel overwhelmed around Zayn. I would too. This relationship is a bit confusing, isn't it? Zayn may feel violated, intuition is strong, and can easily become a paranoid relationship. Yeah, I don't like the underlying darkness of this relationship. It's not cool. Zayn's Mercury in Gigi's 9th house. Travel, culture, and philosophy are common topics of conversation. Gigi is impressed with Zayn's knowledge. I assume this would be mostly emotional. Zayn gives Gigi a greater perspective on life. And yeah, I feel like this goes back to the beginning. We saw there was a bit of a cultural difference. And I think we did see before how Zayn is the one to sort of teach Gigi stuff. Their Mercuries are Trine together, so there's easy communication. They solve problems similarly. There is a mutual understanding. They enjoy learning from each other. Yet there is a bit of a learning thing in this relationship, isn't there? Complementary thoughts and ideas. We did see there is a bit of like basic similarities between them. Maybe it's just like complementary, so they mesh well together, hold similar views, and misunderstandings are unlikely. Gigi's Mercury, sextile Zayn's Venus. Encourage each other to express themselves. I see that. Easy communication. They're attuned emotionally. I definitely see the attuned emotionally bit. Enjoy same movies and music. They share mutual friends and they enjoy socializing together. I'm glad that we're seeing a bit of like a good, positivity in this relationship. Gigi's Mercury, sextile Zayn's Mars. Zayn encourages Gigi to put her thoughts into action. There's healthy competitiveness. They work well together. We do keep seeing, like, they work well together, they accomplish goals together. I'm not sure if they've worked on anything together, like, as a work project publicly. Zayn can take things too personally. I see this. He seems to be very sensitive, inspire each other to improve themselves. Yeah, once again, they're, like, the learning part of this relationship, Gigi's Mercury squares Zayn's Saturn. Deep respect for the other's intelligence. Gigi feels inferior to Zayn. I feel like this would be, he seems to, I don't want to use the word upper hand in this relationship, but he seems to have a bit more of a hold on this relationship. He seems to have a bit of a hold on Gigi. Gigi can be intimidated by Zayn's practicality. There's a serious tone in conversation. Yeah, but I feel like they could be potentially easily get to a darker place with these two. Negativity and criticism take over conversation and they both question their role in the relationship. There seems to be a lot of confusion and conflict with these two, like as individuals in their part in this relationship and how they see each other. Gigi's Mercury trines Zayn's Uranus. Gigi sees Zayn as an intellectual companion. They're perceptive and intuitive of each other. We keep seeing again. There is open communication. Gigi becomes more inventive around Zayn. So maybe with them like working together and accomplishing goals, because we've seen this again, how Zayn is encouraging of Gigi. Maybe Zayn is the one that sort of like really inspires Gigi to like do some other projects, even though it's not with him. They work together on goals and they encourage each other's visions. So yeah, maybe like they're sort of working together on goals as like encouraging each other and sort of being that like not mentor as such, but like the muse, maybe is the better word. Gigi's Mercury trines Zayn's Neptune. Zayn inspires Gigi's imagination. Yeah, we keep seeing he really influences her. They share an appreciation for the arts, they get each other, and they are forgiving of each other. Probably. So now we're on to Venus. So we have Gigi's Venus in Aries and Zayn's Venus in Pisces. There is an intense attraction. Yeah, we're seeing in the beginning a lot how they really idolize each other. Gigi leads. I have to question that. Maybe we'll see more. Gigi finds Zayn enticing. Zayn's unclear nature is confusing to Gigi. I can see why he could be seen as having an unclear nature. Have a lot to offer the other. Gigi's Venus in Zayn's 12th house. Gigi is deeply moved by Zayn. And Gigi is needy and vulnerable around Zayn. He really seems to have a hold on her. Like, very interesting. Gigi acts different in this relationship. Yeah, I would assume so. Like, Zayn really affects her. Zayn doesn't understand Gigi. Zayn feels Gigi is too good to be true. Zayn feels insecure in this relationship. He seems to like want to hold on to this relationship really badly, and maybe that is coming from a place of insecurity. Gigi tries to hold on to this relationship, so we haven't really seen anything, I think, thus far why Gigi would be wanting to have a hold on this relationship, besides that Zayn really affects her. She seems to be attached to Zayn. But yeah, from Zayn's end, it seems to be very much about like insecurity and like his own issues. Zayn's Venus in Gigi's 11th house. Zayn immediately likes Gigi. Gigi senses she can be herself around Zayn. They both share the same social activities and hobbies. They're good friends, which we've seen a couple times sprinkled here and there. They're comfortable with each other and they are both open to each other, which is nice. We've also seen that a couple times, which is good. Zayn's Venus square Gigi's Jupiter. Zayn feels more confident and attractive around Gigi. It's a promising relationship. Gigi may be irritated with Zayn's possessiveness. I don't like this, because didn't we see before, like Gigi may be accepting of Zayn's help, or accepting of it, or like annoyed with it. Probably a bit of both, I assume. Can find a happy way to share their life. I mean, I hope they're happy now. Like, they have a kid together, so for the kid's sake, hopefully. So now we're on to Mars. So we have Gigi's Mars in Leo and Zayn's Mars in Cancer. Zayn is protective of Gigi. We're seeing again. Can become argumentative. Gigi may make Zayn anxious. He seems to be very anxious and insecure in this reading, which is sad. Zayn will give Gigi the admiration she wants. Yeah, I feel like she's a bit conflicted in this relationship. I feel like on one hand she really appreciates Zayn, but she also seems to get easily irritated with him. Gigi's Mars in Zayn's 5th house. Gigi likes to initiate dangerous activities. Gigi seeks admiration from Zayn, which she seems to get. Zayn is flustered around Gigi. He seems to be very seems to be a bit more like anxious and nervous around her. Gigi finds Zayn childish and obnoxious. There's possessive tendencies, yeah. Zayn's Mars in Gigi's 3rd house. Zayn is more blunt around Gigi. Gigi may intimidate Zayn. I see that. He seems to be like a nervous, anxious person in this relationship, and as we saw, insecure. Gigi is sensitive to Zayn's intensity. I assume maybe that's where she can get a bit irritated when he can get a bit more intense. That's when she sort of gets a bit more irritated. Gigi's Mars sextile Zayn's Jupiter. Zayn encourages Gigi to assert her independence. That's interesting because I feel like in this reading we've seen how Zayn seems to be a bit more codependent here. Gigi feels more energized by Zayn, competitive. They encourage each other to engage in controversial behavior. What controversial behavior would they participate in? Because we saw before Gigi likes to initiate some dangerous activities. They have a lot of fun together and they like to try new things together. Gigi's Mars opposite Zayn's Saturn. Both will discover what they want from a relationship. I was saying before how this is a very learning, growing relationship. Zayn finds Gigi's energy attractive initially. This is interesting. This is an interesting turn. Zayn tries to control Gigi, we see again. Zayn becomes annoyed with Gigi's childishness. I assume this would be her confusion in the relationship. They have a difference in views. Gigi feels like she's always been watched by Zayn. Gigi becomes rebellious to Zayn. Maybe that's where the controversial dangerous activities come from, is her sort of rebelling against him. Zayn's Mars Trine Gigi's Saturn. They both can achieve a lot together. Zayn finds Gigi's predictability attractive, which I find funny because I feel like in this relationship, she can be I'm sure she can be predictable, but at the same time we've seen she can get irritated by Zayn, and she seems to be confused in this relationship. Zayn feels he can depend on Gigi, and Gigi appreciates Zayn's individuality. So my final thoughts, interesting relationship. I feel like in this relationship, both of them are pretty similar people. I know throughout the reading we've seen they have their differences, which is normal. But I feel like in this relationship, by themselves individually, they have that similar basic personality. But I also feel like they have similar roles in the relationship. Both of them seem to be a bit more insecure in this relationship. We've mostly seen that on Zayn's end, but even with Gigi, she seems to be sort of seeking approval from Zayn. And I feel like both of them are pretty confused about how they view each other and their roles in the relationship and why they're in the relationship. Like in the very beginning, we saw there was that atmosphere of mystery and no idea why they're together. And I really feel that, like, they seem to like each other, but there also is a bit of like, why am I here as well? We did see they have a pretty good emotional relationship, and they seem to be quite helpful to each other. But I think also we've been seeing there's a bit of an underlying sort of darkness to the relationship, mostly with Zayn being a bit more controlling and possessive. But I feel like that is just coming from a place of like, he seems to be more codependent in this relationship and a bit more insecure. So I feel like with them not being together, I feel like this relationship has proved to be a bit too difficult. But we did see a few times they do have a good friendship dynamic and they do have a good work dynamic. So hopefully that has manifested into them being able to be good co-parents. If you like this video, give this video a like. And if you want to see more of these celebrity synastry chart readings, then subscribe to this channel. And I will see you guys next time. Bye!